In case you guys missed it, No Rest for the Wicked previews have been going out to certain streamers, and IGN and other sites have been covering this game and dropping a ton of details. I'm going to go over some of those, but I want to talk about Moon Studios a bit too, because I went back and watched their interview with IGN and I came to find out some really interesting things. For one, you guys know Moon Studios is known for making Ori, and that's one of my favorite franchises ever. And during the process and development of the first game, they actually had No Rest for the Wicked in the back of their mind. This is the game they wanted to make since then. But because they were such a small studio and they wanted more experience, they created Ori and then decided to do the sequel to get more experience and get more people on board with the team. Also, during the development of the definitive edition of the first game, they were able to learn more and more about how people play their games. So essentially, it was kind of their early access when they didn't have early access. And they actually told us too that they want to go down the route of early access. And here we are with No Rest for the Wicked, and they're doing exactly that. Here's the roadmap here, where we're going to have Steam Early Access launch in April, and then the updates along the way will give us multiplayer, the breach, and then further updates, and then it will release as a full package after that. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they learn and how much the game is going to change. So if you do sign up for Early Access and you do play this game, just know that things can change. And I'm going to assume for the better because I trust Moon Studios. I feel like they're really good developers. They've definitely proven that with Ori. So I feel like this is such a good move for them, especially because it is an action RPG and they are going the route of this genre mixed with some Souls-like. As you can clearly see, this game is very Souls heavy. And they describe their journey from going from Ori to this game as going from their Mario to their Zelda, as well as going from like a Disney-inspired style to a Game of Thrones-inspired style, which they did make mention in their interviews. So they have all these kind of influences going on with No Rest for the Wicked, which I think is a great title, by the way. Love the title, and I love the look of this game. It took me a minute to kind of grow that love, I gotta be honest, because when I first saw the trailer, I thought, cool, this is gonna be awesome. But then when I sat down and kind of watched the gameplay, it wasn't hitting right away. It was kind of taking me a minute to kind of get there. But the more I've watched, and then also watching these interviews and seeing what's been going on with the development process, hearing from Moon Studios, it's really making me want it more and more. And the more I see the gameplay, I could see all the Souls influence going on here, the action RPG influence going on, and the details that are dropping for this game are revolved around that action RPG aspect of it. For example, if you play on mouse and keyboard, there's going to be WASD support and it's not point and click. I'm actually playing Last Epoch right now, which is an interesting, pretty good game, but you have to point and click to move. At least that's what I think you could only do. That's by default. But this game, you can be able to use the WASD as well as analog stick movement for the controllers. So it's going to be very natural in that way of like playing a Souls game or playing a top-down action game where combat is very important. It talks about the combat here. It says animation-driven combat inspired by ARPGs, action games, and fighting games. It also says that the combat is very similar to Dark Souls, which we can clearly see. Armor weight affects movement, so you could fat roll. I guess if the weight is too much and you can't support it, stamina is too low, you're gonna fat roll and move slowly. But yeah, there's gonna be rolling, dodging, weapons that are going to have different types and different move sets. There's also dynamic weather, day and night cycles, which is pretty awesome. I love that. There's going to be randomized loot, which is for the ARPG fans out there as well. World is handcrafted and not procedurally generated. So that's a big detail right there. I like that it's going to be handcrafted. They talked about world building in their interview as well. Moon Studios was saying that's such an important part of the development process for this game, that world building really was important. So that's good to know. The regions you visited before, you can have drastically different enemies as you come back to them, which I think is awesome. The enemies don't respawn when you die, but injured enemies will stay injured after you respawn. And that's pretty interesting. I don't know if I've played a game like that before. I mean, when it comes to a Souls-like specifically, they all respawn when I die. And they all respawn when I go level up and come back and rest at the bonfires. But apparently in this game, not so much. But the ones that are injured will stay injured. And that's pretty awesome too. Probably make it a little bit more easier in that way. As far as farming goes, that'll be interesting to see if farming will actually be needed or whatnot, because action RPGs, I'm assuming, you know, I don't have a ton of experience with them as far as like maybe some of you. I have more experience with Souls, but maybe that action RPG element of it is going to carry in terms of farming and grinding and leveling up more so than the Souls style. Also, the boss fights, very Souls-like. I very much enjoyed watching this boss fight right here. I think this looks epic. It looks really good. You got the boss having attacks where you can roll away from them. You got their health bar at the bottom looking very Souls-like. You got this bottom left area where you're gonna have your weapons and all of that there. Very Souls as well. And there's just a lot here to take and think of Souls just by looking at it. And that, of course, I like very much. And with Moon Studios being behind this game and having that experience with Ori and having an art style such as this, which is similar in the way that you can say, yeah, this looks like Moon Studios' creation, but at the same time, it's more dreary, it's more dark, it's more along the lines of a Souls game where everything is scary and dead and who knows what, and these bosses are coming for blood. Whereas with Ori, it was a bit more vibrant, it was more colorful, it was beautiful in a different way. But both games, I think, look beautiful, and I'm very excited to see more of No Rest for the Wicked. I think it's going to be one of those games that we're going to look at as another hit for Moon Studios. If you're a fan of Ori, if you're a fan of Souls games, I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer. Play this damn thing. I'm going to try it out in early access. I'm hoping I can get in there and play. But other than that, man, I'm just looking forward to the full release as well. And it's going to be awesome. So let me know what you guys think about No Rest for the Wicked. Are you looking forward to this game? If you're a Souls fan, does this entice you? Does this make you excited? And if not, and you just played Ori, or you're just looking for something new, or you just play action RPGs, especially on PC, where it's that top-down kind of action, something like Diablo or Last Epoch, like we were just talking about. If that's your jam, does this interest you as well? Let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.